Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
It's December and I want it to snow, at least on my computer screen, in a window kind of like this. So every day until the 24th, I'm going to improve on my program to make the snow better and better. Right now, I have gotten the snow to snow and snowflakes land, and when they land, it sets an orange dot where they landed. But as you can see, there's some tiny holes in here, so it looks like a snowflake doesn't actually reach the bottom before it lands. And that is what I want to investigate today. But first I need to decide, when does a snowflake actually land? And to help me do that, I've set up this little experiment here where I can create a single snowflake at a very large scale. So I'm going to create a snowflake and give it a 100 pixel width and a 100 pixel height, and just make it round. The border radius would be 100 pixel and the background color would be white. This snowflake, I'm just going to zoom in to make it ginormous, and we don't need this. And I'm moving the snowflake. I'm just going to give it an outline so I can see where it is. I know it's here, but I want to see its box that's around it. This one, this box here. And then I put the snowflake inside a move box. That would be the same as my night sky, but here I'm just calling a move box. I can only have a single snowflake. It has a width also of 100 pixel and a height of 200 pixels. And I'm just going to give that an outline of 2 pixels solid green, like this. So what I need to decide right now, the snowflake is at the top. If I move the snowflake, let us set the top position to something lower, 100 pixels. Has it hit the ground now? Or now? Or now? Say, should it be where the Y position? This is the Y position, the top of the snowflake. Should the top plus the height of the snowflake touch the ground? Or should the top, should it be halfway through? Like this, halfway through. So that the top plus half the snowflake is on the ground. Or should it be all the way down? So it would be, the top would be at or lower than the height. I don't think there's a correct answer, but I want my snow to actually fall and then crumble to the ground, so a snowflake wouldn't have landed before it's completely inserted into the snow here. So I would go with this. This, when the top of the snowflake is at the bottom of the move box, then it has landed. But there's a problem. And the problem is that I scale my snowflakes. Say the top is at 0, ypos is 0, but the size is only half, so it was transformed, scaled to 1/2. And did you see? Then suddenly the ypos is still here, but it's moved to there. Whereas if I set it to 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. You see, the only thing that doesn't change is the center of the snowflake. That would be around here. That keeps the same, but the ypos doesn't. And that's a problem, because when I move it down here, say 200, it's way beyond. It's actually at 150. It should be just beyond, but then it's only halfway past. So how do I solve this? When is this snowflake with a height of 50? When does this hit the bottom here? And it would be in 175, and I have no idea how to calculate that. But if I were if I could somehow move it so that 0 would mean 0. Even though I transform it, this would still be the top. And I can't do that. Say transform origin. The origin is usually here in the center, but I could make it at the top left. And that means a top is now top. And when I move it to 100 pixel, it's at 100. When I move it to 150, it's at 150. And when it's 200, it's 200. And that means when I have crossed the bottom, the size doesn't matter. If it's 0.25 or 0.1 or size 1, it's still at ypos 200. It has just crossed the threshold. So I'm going to add transform origin to my snow here in my CSS. You notice I have uncommented the box shadow because it really drags on performance, but you can keep it. And then here in my move function, I check if ypos is greater than config max. I don't need all of this, at least not yet. Let's drop all of it and say if the ypos is greater than or equal to the config max, then the snowflake has landed. Let's see how that works out. Let's just make the screen a little shorter here and reload. So we should have orange dots. No, not a single one. Let's go to the land snowflake and see what happens. Here, this ypos should really be the same as max y. Let's just set it. Let y be config.max y and use that here. And then see. No, still not. Ah, yes. Max y is actually just outside the screen. It needs to be -1. So this would get us. Yes, we have orange dots at the bottom. Perfect. Now we can reuse the landing arrays from earlier. So let's just find the x. That would be the rounded value of our flake ypos. And then, yeah, we should swap those, because then we can use x to find y. That would be minus landed x, because we subtract 1 from the first snowflake, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. And then we just use these x and y. And of course, we also have to increment this landed, so make sure that this gets ++, so we know we have landed one more. Yes. Perfect. Almost perfect. Just one more thing. I want here the height. I want to subtract it, so that if there's a very tall one and the snowflake hits that one, it would count here. This would be the landed index height. Yes. And just before committing, I'm changing the color of the landeds to white. Perfect. I have snow snowing, snowflakes falling and landing. I'm going to commit. Not the experiment though. Dunes on canvas. I can see there's one thing with getting a lot of spikes here. I would like to avoid that. But I'm going to look into them tomorrow. See you then.
Let it snow.